Part 1, Section B, Planning, Budgeting and Forecasting. All theory. The management of a food processing company is analyzing its internal strengths and weaknesses as part of its strategic planning process. Which of the following is most likely considered a strategic internal factor? Mind the word, this is the key part of the question. Strategic internal factor of the company. Changes in the legal code for food processors. Legal changes are external political legal factors. This is not internal. We are specifically looking for an internal factor. This is not right. The economic forces that regulate the local labor supply. Again, local labor supply is affected by external economic forces. We are looking for something internal. Not correct. Technological changes in food processing methods. Again, these changes are external. These are external factors, not internal strengths or weaknesses. So these all are external. What about the culture at the company's food processing plant? Yes, that is something internal. Culture is an internal factor that influences how effectively a company operates, how we treat our employees, how employees are expected to behave. So yes, that is very much internal. That's the right option. A company is in the process of developing its mission statement. What is the mission statement? Mission statement describes why do you exist. What is the rationale of your existence? It defines what as a business, what are you? Why do you exist? Good question. It says, which of the following, mind the word, least appropriate for the company's mission statement? We are developing a mission statement. Which of these is least appropriate? We should not consider. Defining the purpose of the company. This is exactly what mission statement is all about. Defining the company's purpose is the key element of mission statement. So this is, of course, something that you should consider. B, identifying what product or service the company is providing. Yes, identifying company's products or services, it's appropriate in setting up your mission statement. So this is definitely something you should consider. Promoting a common shared goal on the part of employees. Extremely important. Promoting a shared goal among employees, it will align your employees with the mission's intent. It will unify your employees. It will unify their motivation toward a common goal. Exactly. Mission is who we are. Mission is what do we do, and vision who we are, what we intend to do in the future. Exactly, Imran. And yes, this is true. Last line, explaining the tactics for increasing market share in a specific region. This is least appropriate for company's mission statement. Why? Because mission statement focuses on the company's overall purpose, the company values, not on specific operational or technical plans. So this is clearly something that we are least likely to consider. Next. A company sells a product that is aimed at a broad mass market, but it is perceived as a unique throughout the industry. I hope you people would remember Michael E. Porter's competitive model. First of all, you have to decide whether you're going to go for a large market or for a narrow competitive scope. Your product is going to go for a national or international launch, or is it focusing on a small regional market? Once you have decided that I'm going to go big, internationally or nationally, then again you have two choices. Will you be focusing more on cost, being a low-cost producer, or will you be providing a differentiated product, different from others? And if you select a small niche market, small regional market, then again you have two options. Either your focus would be on cost, or you will provide a differentiated product, focus differentiation. So that's the Porter generic model. Now let's see generic competitive model. A company sells a product that is aimed at broad mass market. Broad mass market means you're specifically talking about here. But it is perceived as a unique product throughout its industry. The product it is offering is unique. So that means it's differentiated. The company is earning above average returns on the product. Which of the following is the most appropriate term for the competitive strategy followed by the company? Clearly differentiation strategy. Broad competitive scope means you are in a broad mass market and your product is presumed to be different than others. That is exactly what the question is all about. So market focus basically targets a narrow, specific market segment here. Financial leadership, this is not one of the models we have. It's not one of the Porter's recognized competitive strategies. Cost focus is applicable when you are operating in a niche market through cost efficiency, not uniqueness. And our concern was clearly in a broad comparative scope, broad market, and our product was unique compared to the competitors. So that's the right answer, D. Okay. The concurrent action of basic competitive forces as defined by Michael E. Porter, called 5 forces model. It has 5 forces that influence how much profitable that industry is. The existing rivalry in the industry where you are intending to operate, the power of suppliers in that industry, the power of buyers in that industry, the threat of substitute that can affect that industry, and the potential entrants, how easily they can enter. This is what we call the Michael E. Porter's 5 forces model. Right, so it says the concurrent action of basic competitive forces you see here as defined by Michael E. Porter's 5 forces model. It determines which of these. Let us discuss each one by one. Strategy that a company should follow to achieve its objectives. This is not right because the model we saw on the screen, it helps inform strategy but doesn't prescribe a specific course of action. It doesn't define what rules or route should you select. Not right. Rivalry inside the industry, it is one of those forces. Rivalry within the industry is only one of the 5 forces, not the overall outcome. Wrong. The entrance barrier that potential players must face to get into industry again, barrier to entry, is one of the 5 forces, not the combined result. So what the model is all about, the whole model is all about, it is the long-term profitability and the competitive intensity of the industry. So this model helps you determine that should I enter this market, is there long-term profit potential? If these forces are in your favor, then of course there is long-term profit potential. If the intensity between if the firms is intense, it means profit potential can be in trouble. So this is the overall determination by this model, that is the industry long-term profitable and what is the competitive intensity in the industry. So that's what the model is all about. That's the overall idea of the model, what it determines. Otherwise, these are the 5 forces that are either in your favor or against. Most of them might be in your favor, most of them might be against you, and that's how you decide should you or should you not enter in that industry. Yes, Imran, absolutely right. Here we go. After leading the market for the past decade, the growth of the product ABC is slowing down. You have been the market leader, but now the product ABC, the growth is declining. Please remember, the focus of the growth is slowing down. In this stage of the life cycle, the product is still generating significant amount of cash flows. Despite market slowdown, the cash flows are good. And this cash flow is covering the company's investment in new products innovation. According to the BCG growth share matrix, product ABC is most likely an example of, here we go. See, the situation you see here is clearly focusing towards cash cow. Right? Because the growth in that industry is slowing down, but you have a significant market share that is generating a lot of cash which you are using to fund your other investment projects. Right? So that's what you call a cash cow. Perfectly fine. What is a star? Star is that strategic business unit which is in a growing market and you have a high market share. Question mark, or sometimes a dog, a question mark right here. It's a product or an SBU which is in a market where the growth rate is high, but you have a very low market share. That's a question mark. Why? The market is growing, but we have very little share. And the last one here is a dog where the share is small and the market is growing at a very slow rate. So this is something you need to get rid of if it is not viable and all. So yes, cash cow is the correct answer here. The major objective of budgeting are, see, you get these extended options where you have to read and weigh and then finally go for the final selection. See, so you need to read carefully each option. Let's move in the reverse order. Major objective of budgeting. Moving in the reverse order. Budget define responsibility centers. Facilitate identification of blame. This is not the right word. This will simply make this statement wrong. It's not a blame game. It's not a blame game. Identifying blame is contrary to the motivation that we want in our employees. coordination we want. So if you start blaming others, that's not going to motivate. We want budgets as a tool to motivate. The budgets as a mean to communicate, not right. Define responsibility centers, provide a framework for performance evaluation, and promote communication and coordination among the organizational segment. Looks nice. While defining responsibility center is a part of managerial control, but this is not the main objective. What you see looks good. This is the typical kind of question that gets a better of you in the exam. Because the things look good. Define who is responsible for cost, who is responsible for revenues. Define a framework, how we are going to evaluate performance. Promote communication, coordination. Looks nice. But that does not explain the main objective of budgeting. We'll see when we move forward. So let's move up. Fostering the planning of operations. Nice. Facilitate identification of blames. This is the one word that causes this statement to be rejected straight away. Now look at option A. Foster the planning of operations. This was missing in C. Provide framework for performance evaluation. Yes, it was there. Promote coordination, communication, and organizational segments. Planning was an important part. You can't skip planning. Right? So you need plan. Without plan, there is no budget. So that's why A is the perfect option out of all. So you have to be very careful when you come across a question like that option looks so close. So you need to read carefully. Okay. The management of a company has just completed a thorough review of its strategic goals and formulated the company's long-term plan and short-term objectives. The most appropriate next step for the company is the development of which of the following. So what you have done so far, you have reviewed strategic goals, you have formulated the company's long-term plan, short-term objective. Now what is the next step? Next step is the formulation of master budget, which is the whole, what you see right now. Whole budgeting. Two types of budgets primarily, operating budgets and financial budgets. Operating budgets are all the budgets till the point when you draft your budgeted income statement. And financial budgets are of four types: capital budget for long-term investments, cash budget, perform a balance sheet, and perform a statement of cash flows. So these collectively they are called master budget. So this is exactly, you guys are right, master budget. Financial budget is just a part of the master budget. These are financial budgets. And the budget that you see above this line are operating budgets. Capital budget is a single small budget that is made on a long-term basis for capital investments. Master budget is the right answer because it integrates all individual budgets, operational and financial, and these are the budget that will translate company's short-term objectives into comprehensive action plans for all the departments and all functions. So yes, absolutely correct. That is D and the right option. Ceravel or Ceravel Products Company is a ceramics manufacturer that is facing several challenges in its operations due to economic and industry conditions. The company is currently preparing its annual plan and budget. Which of the following is subject to the least control by the management of Ceravel in the current fiscal year? What is something you cannot control? A new machine that was purchased this year and has not helped reduce our unfavorable labor variance, sell it off. Replace it with a new machine. This is perfectly controllable. You can control. This is something you can manage. It's not something that's totally out of control. B. A competitor has achieved an unexpected technological breakthrough that has given them a significant quality advantage and has caused us to lose market share. This is something note. Previous was clearly management can change machine anytime they want. They can improve machine utilization. They can manage. But this is something which we can't control. Competitor is not in our control. If they have achieved some breakthrough, we can only respond strategically, but we cannot prevent them. So this is something we cannot control. What about C? Vendors have asked that the contract price for the goods they supply to us be renegotiated and adjusted for inflation. Yes, management can negotiate with vendors, or if they don't agree, find some other alternative suppliers. It's perfectly controllable. What about D? Experienced employees have decided to terminate their employment with us and go to work for somewhere else. Is it not controllable? It is. You can discuss them, offer them incentives, try to retain them through better pay, maybe sometimes adjusting your culture, give them some incentives. Again, this is something that you can control. This is beyond your control because it is external. Someone has done something and you do not exercise any control. Exactly. Externalities are not in our control. Any governmental change, any change in law, any change in regulations, any change in competitive environment, interest rate, taxes, that's beyond our control. Absolutely right. All of the following are advantages of use of budgets in management control system, except all are advantage and one is not an advantage. Let us discuss this. Forcing management to planning, it's an advantage. I will write it AD because budgets force management to plan for the future. Provide performance criteria, it's an advantage. Budgets provide clear performance benchmarks for evaluating performance. It's an advantage. Promote communication and coordination. Yes, when we set our budgets, we bring all together, sales, marketing, production, procurement, all sit together and then we make plan together. So yes, it promotes communication and coordination. But what it cannot do, limit unauthorized expenditures. Budgets are just guides for spending, but they cannot themselves prevent any spending. They cannot prevent unauthorized actions. So that's basically role of internal control, not the role of budgets themselves. When properly developed and administered, budgets provide the following advantages to the organizations, except. It's a negative question. So there are 3 advantages. One is not an advantage. Provide a structure for measuring performance. Yes, it's true. Budgets provide a framework to measure performance against the target. It's absolutely right. It's an advantage. B. Motivate managers and others employees. Yes, true. Budgets do motivate managers by setting clear goals and expectations. It is an advantage. C. Ensure that organization makes a profit. There is no such guarantee. Budgets only guide planning and control, but they cannot guarantee profitability because profitability depends on execution and many external factors. Absolutely. Budgets cannot ensure profit. So this is not true. In fact, this is something you can't claim as an advantage. Promote efficient allocation of resources. Yes, that's true. Budgets help allocate resources efficiently among the different needs we have in our organization. This is true. This is an advantage.